Alright, this video is brought to you by Don't Buy the China Lie. This is a hoodie. I'll be adding t-shirts and what have you. But there's the back. Don't buy the China Lie. Let's take a look at the front. Yeah, that's the standard. Patriotism, the new counterculture. Alright, let's get into your briefing. Alright, Rebels, today's brief Patriot Post, and it is the Trump administration's path back to prosperity. Guidelines include gating criteria and 3 phases for restoring the U.S. economy. And this article is by Nate Jackson, Jackson, dated April 17th. President Donald Trump unveiled the long-awaited guidelines for opening up America again. It's a completely reasonable and laudable approach to what Mark Alexander has called the most difficult and complex policy decision by any president in decades. The Trump administration's plan lays out gating criteria, followed by 3 phases of reopening. We are not opening all at once, Trump said, but one careful step at a time. The gating criteria include a downward trajectory of both influenza-like and COVID-like syndromic cases reported within a 14-day period. Documented cases must likewise demonstrate a downward trajectory, while hospitals must be able to treat all patients without crisis care and implement a robust testing program for at-risk healthcare workers. On the way to meeting these benchmarks, the White House plan lays out responsibilities for states, individuals, and employers. For the latter 2 groups, most guidelines are common sense measures for protecting yourself and others from infection. For states, it means capacity to test, screen, monitor, and advise citizens. Phase 1. Phase 1 is largely more of what we've been doing for the last month. Vulnerable individuals, defined as the elderly or those with serious underlying health conditions, should shelter in place. Employees who are able should work remotely, and everyone should be social distancing, limiting gatherings to 10 or fewer people, and minimizing non-essential travel. Employers should allow employees to return to work in phases, and some may reopen in limited capacity. Churches, restaurants, movie theaters, gyms, while other specific businesses, bars, and organizations, schools, should remain closed. Elective surgeries may resume. Phase 2 calls for vulnerable individuals to continue to shelter in place, while people with loved ones in that category should take careful precautions. All individuals should continue social distancing and limiting gatherings to 50 people or fewer, but people may resume non-essential travel. Significantly, schools and organized youth activities can reopen or resume. More venues can reopen with less restrictive protocols for distancing. See how these are vague enough so that individuals can exercise their own judgment. That's a good thing. And phase 3 is obviously where most freedom of business and movement returns. Even vulnerable individuals can resume public interactions, but should practice physical distancing. Employers can resume full operations, and larger venues can begin easing distancing protocols for patrons. More than previous phases, that should mean rehiring some, hopefully most or even all, of the 22 million Americans now out of work. I would think this would be taking place in phase 2 as well, hopefully. Contrary to the deserved dust-up over Trump's comments about his ultimate authority, Earlier this week, the plan his administration actually released keeps governors in charge. Constitutionally, they have been all along. You're going to call your own shots, Trump told governors earlier Thursday. We'll be standing right alongside of you, and we're going to get our country open. I heard from a number of governors that said they're in very good shape, Trump added later. They will be able to go literally tomorrow, yes, because they've met all of the guidelines. Yes, most states are in good shape. That doesn't mean all the governors will aim for the May 1st target. New York Democrat Governor Andrew Cuomo extended his state's lockdown through at least May 15th. Cuomo is part of a coalition of northeastern governors who are working together on their own timeline, and all of them followed Cuomo's lead on the May 15th date. Just my interjection, it makes sense. Those states all have huge cities with high density, high population density. It makes sense for them to be cautious on their reopening. Let's see. Back to the article. Wisconsin Democrat Governor Tony Evers extended his order until May 26th, and Michigan Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer, the Führer, is obtusely, that's their word, not mine, but it's very appropriate. Michigan Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she's acting like a Gretchen, is obtusely warning protesters that their actions make it more likely we're going to have to spread this posture. Translation, she's going to clamp down harder and longer. And see what happens, like I said in a previous video. See what happens if she does that. Back to the article. What the Trump administration has provided, as it has previously, is a series of guidelines. Actually resuming normal life, whatever that looks like in the days, months, and years ahead, will remain the responsibility of individuals, businesses, and states. It may be a long road, especially in some states, and it may happen in fits and starts. But Trump is exactly right. America wants to be open, and Americans want to be open. And I have to say, most states and most rural areas should be able to jump straight to phase 2, if not to phase 3, without the 14-day waiting periods. But that depends on the individual states, even individual counties. So it sounds pretty good to me, Rebels. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And that's your briefing for today. Go forth and speak freely.